What's going on, guys? Today, we're here to talk about my favorite lens, the 50mm 1.8. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here and you like content about photography and videography, please make sure to like this video and subscribe as I'm putting out content each and every week. The Nifty 50, the first lens that I ever bought. I remember getting into portrait photography and how much I learned on this lens. I don't think I bought another lens for at least a year and a half when I got into photography, so all of my basic skills were learned with this lens. If you're new to photography or have been shooting for a little while now, this lens is a staple to have in any camera bag. The Nikon 50mm 1.8G was introduced in 2011, so it just celebrated its 10th birthday. But that doesn't mean that this lens still isn't viable all these years later. Being the lens that I've put through the most tests and still having in working condition, after shooting it in rain, snow, and everything in between over the last decade, this lens is tried and tested. As you can see in the B-roll of this video, this lens has definitely seen better days, but it still captures images as perfectly as it did the day that I brought it home from Best Buy. With newer mirrorless versions of this lens available, as well as models with faster apertures, I want to go over in this video the reasons why I still use my Nikon 50mm 1.8G in 2021 and why I think you should too. It's compact and portable. If you need a lens to just throw on your camera and go, this is the perfect lens just for that. The Nikon 50mm 1.8 is such a small and compact lens. Coming in at just under half a pound, you can barely notice a difference in the weight of your camera when you attach this lens. This is why the 50mm 1.8 is such a popular lens among street photographers. Unlike the pro and more expensive lenses offered by other companies, this lens won't protrude so far from your camera. This makes it the perfect lens to pack in your bag without taking up too much space or to have on your camera as you carry it around for a day in the city capturing some street photography. This is such a versatile lens. The 50mm 1.8 is such a versatile lens and is great all around, even with its small size and lightweight. Don't be fooled into thinking you need a humongous lens on your camera to take great photographs. And this lens opens up your ability to be able to shoot much more with only having one lens. It isn't great for just portraits, but also landscapes, street photography, and even some wildlife. Knowing you have the ability to capture whatever you desire with one lens makes it well worth its value. Like award-winning photographer Tanya Nagar stated in the title of her book, Life in 50mm, this lens is the photographer's lens. From my own experience, having this lens to capture with for most of my career, it has always pushed me to find the right shot and pushed me to be more creative. This lens is fast. At an already low price point, an even lower price point if you find it used, you aren't going to get a faster lens with quality glass at a better deal. With its aperture wide open at 1.8, this lens becomes great to have when you need a higher shutter speed or are faced with a low light situation. At 1.8, this lens can be a little soft at the corners, but when shooting portraits, this isn't that big of a deal, and it really provides beautiful separation between your subject and the background. If you've only been shooting with zoom lenses, you'll know how limited you were not being able to go below the f-stop of maybe 3.5 or 5.6, giving you a flatter image. With this lens allowing you to dive deeper into the look you can get with a more shallow depth of field, you are going to be able to really push your creativity and really begin to tell a story. In portrait work, separating the focus of your photograph allows you to really pull the viewer's eyes exactly to where you want it. This lens will work regardless of your form factor. Whether you have an entry-level camera with a crop sensor or a pro body with a full-frame sensor, this lens is usable on either camera. On a crop sensor camera, like a D70-200, this lens acts more like an 80mm, so you are limited with a smaller amount that you're able to capture, but once you upgrade to a full-frame camera down the road, you won't have to worry about getting a new 50mm like you would have to worry about getting a new 35mm or any other type of wide-angle lens. Another great thing about this lens is the price. The price of this lens alone makes it worth it, regardless of all the features that it comes with. You can get the Canon version as low as $120 brand new, and the Nikon version, clearly because it has superior glass, will cost you $220. With most 1.8 or lower aperture lenses usually costing upwards of $400, this lens is not only a bargain, but a no-brainer for your first prime lens. This lens is the closest thing to how your eyes see. The great thing about the 50mm lens that most people don't know is that it is the closest lens to how your eyes render real life around you. That is why most photographers rely on having one in their kit, and why images taken with them are so pleasing to the eye. When taking portraits on a 35mm, for instance, you start to see weird bulging in people's heads, whereas the 50mm will capture a portrait and it will look similar to what you see out of your own eyes. I love my 50mm 1.8 and I see myself using it for the foreseeable future. What are some of your favorite things about the 50mm and how do you utilize yours? I'd love for you to leave that in the comments below. I always appreciate you guys tuning in, and until next time, peace out.